And we have Councilor John Gamboa. First of all, Councilor, how would you describe this situation subong sa Felisa dumpsite? Problema ni para sa aton o kung hindi?
Dako nga problema for the next future generations. Tungod sang halit nga pag duso inada naton sa lugar sa Felisa and sa padalagan sang among kuno abis sanitary landfill, but in reality for the last 14 to 15 years is actually an open dump site.
Okay, now a bit of enlightenment para sa aton nga viewers. Under current laws, hindi na pwedeng open dump site, but silingon ng duta nga tampukan mo lang basura. Ano ang lain sa sanitary landfill kag sa open dump site in very simple terms?
Okay, so open dump site is a lot worse. And hindi man allowed ang controlled dump site. What is allowed by law is only a sanitary landfill.
Anong kinalain, sir?
The only garbage supposedly nga ginadump naton kung magsiling kita sanitary landfill are only residual wastes. Kaga complete with the facilities na to protect the environment. Now, when we say of residual waste, inabalang basura nga hindi nagid mapuslan. Nga kung sa diin ang mga solid waste, ang kutob basura nga pwede makwartahan, hindi na dapat iula sa sanitary landfill. Now, when we say of a sanitary landfill, it has to be complete with the necessary facilities. Nga kung sa diin siling ko maprotehiran naton ang aton nga environment, dapat may ara na da siling naton be treatment, leachate pond, and the underneath the said sanitary landfill should be covered so that there will be no seepage. Sining leachate kung duga nga nagahalin sa basura nga kung sa diin if it is untreated or unregulated magas us-us inada panaog sa aton nga
Water table,
basin or water aquifer or watershed. Among others, because ang mga reklamo subong nga ang mga duga o kunilishay sang basura nagalapta kag nagaawas, killing the environment, killing the animals within the surroundings of the said sanitary landfill dump site, killing the plantations ang aton nga mga mangungumadra, fish kill, etc. So when we say of a sanitary landfill, all of these requirements, features siling naton should be present.
Okay. Now, kung himuon ta analogy, ang simpleng istorya is this. Ang open dump site, sa simpleng istorya, bukas nga basurahan nimo. Do parehas ning kung magpupo ka o mag-bowel movement ka, tilaban niya sa kampo ga pamuhin. Pero when you say sanitary landfill, do parehas nga nagamit ka inodoro.
Yes.
Something like that.
Something like that. Because
Okay.
It is well maintained, well
Ang higko mo kontrolado.
kontrolado. Kag amo na siling ta nga dapat every time nga we dump residual waste, it has to be covered immediately by good soil.
Meaning ang duga sang basura hindi magsalupsop sa duta.
Hindi magsalupsop sa duta kag kung ginasalod ang duga, kag ginatreat, once we release it in the environment, it has to be clean already. That will not create damage to the environment.
Bali ang gwa sina, ang sanitary landfill, basurahan gyapon, medyo sosyal na lang. Kay ti ginatreat anay ang basura, ang tagas, kag tanan. Okay.
Yes.
But that being said, at least may differentiation na between an open dump site,
Controlled dump,
a controlled dump,
as
and a
against
sanitary landfill. Therefore, kadto ta karon sa question. Ano ang palaligban ta di subong?
okay, first of all, the site. Ako siguran ko na sa pagpangita sa bag-o nga site. Not at Felisa, not at Purok, Akasya, in Barangay Felisa, because in the first place that area is not already suited or ideal or conducive even for a sanitary landfill. Because for several reasons, una, right underneath sang nga sanitary landfill mismo at Barangay Felisa is an aquifer or a water table nga kung sa diin all of the southern part area of Bacolod, meaning the barangays in the southern part of Bacolod relies on that particular water reservoir or water basin that we have underneath sa sinangidalom mismo sang ato nga sanitary landfill. That is one.
Oh,
yes.
Wait. So very interesting because ang ginasiling mo nga ang ginatapukan ta basura sa idalom sina may tubig.
Yes.
Fresh water.
Fresh water that supplies water to all the rest of the other barangays in the southern part of Bacolod City, namely Felisa, Masnilingan, Tangob, Kabog, Handumanan, Punta Taytay, Pahanukoy, Sumag, among others. There are 5 existing water deep wells now there at Basiwa. One has already been closed down. And sooner or later, considering ang ina nga dumpsite so on is already irreparable according to the DNR, irreparable. Hindi na makayo. Because we started off with the dumpsite and it's still a dumpsite until now, meaning inang halit sang sina nga
Hindi na ma-atras.
hindi na makayo and it will be felt, it was, as a matter of fact, felt already by the neighboring puroks or barangays in that
Wait,
area.
sir. Allow me to pursue that point, no?
Yes.
Ano ang studies nga gin-conduct? Sino ang nag-conduct ng studies?
Okay, way back in 2006, naghatag sang 14 million grant ang Spanish government and to conduct a study. And it was the Australian study ang naghimo sang among nga study to identify the ideal site for a sanitary landfill.
Wait, ang gina-refer ko yung water table, ha? Ang
yes.
aquifer bla?
Dira. So
Oo.
the DNR, Basiwa,
Ano? Saan
because
ang
the
ilang
presence
study?
of these deep wells by Basiwa.
Saan ang study nila?
Ha?
Kasano sila nag-obra study?
The deep well? Ara na nangadaan.
Hindi, kaya, yes. Ang point ko is this. No? Kaya, that's very interesting.
Yes.
Ang point mo nga na-raise, ang sa simpleng istorya mo ni.
Oo.
Kung ihalimbawa tangang aquifer, social,
Oo.
para ma-visualize ang aton nga mga viewers, when you say aquifer, diri nagapundo ang tubig sa idalong duta.
Yes.
I-visualize ta nga may banga,
Yes.
banga sa dalong duta. Sa babaw sina may basura. Gakadunot ang basura, gatagas ang duga sang basura pakadto sa banga nga may tubig.
Yes.
Are you trying to say nga gainom ta tubig nga may duga sang basura?
Possible.
Possible.
Possibly.
May mga studies na naging conduct about that, wala pa.
Now, way back in 2007, nangayo ang Basiwa ta with the DNR, requesting also assistance coming from the Natural Water Resources Board, DNR, EMB, Environmental Management Bureau, kagpilaman ka nakalain-lain nga hensya. At the early onset, it was already a disposition of the DNR na hindi dapat butangan sa sanitary landfill ang inang area because underneath there is a basin there. But it was early as 2007, 2008, ang aton nga City Health Office has already conducted the study sa mga shallow deep wells dira palibot sa
What
mga
did they
purok.
find out, sir?
And according to our City Health Office, bacteria infected na amo na kun of the 8 wells nga may ara na da. Shallow wells ha. Ang bubon gintampukan na lang kay because kontaminado na ang amo nga mga bubon.
Oh.
So, dira pa lang nga dam. Because you know what? Ang inaagbanwa nga soon nga area, shallow.
Nabaw.
Ang water, nabaw. Nga ang 2.1 deep meters, 2 meters deep lang, makakuha ka na tubig. And alongside that sanitary landfill that we have now is a creek. a flowing creek,
Kakadto ko sa
nga kung sa
I'm familiar
sa
with the place.
subong dead creek na because
Patay na.
sang sininga duga nga nagaawas o kung nagatagas sa aton basurahan.
Okay, all right. Now, ang ining sanitary landfill or ang ining open dump site spanned several administrations Kadamaan dire administrasyon ni former Mayor Evilio Rinardia
Yes.
from
2004 onward
2004 to 2010
up to the present.
up to the present.
Yes.
But may isa man katang
Oo.
nga administrasyon ni former Mayor Monico Pontevilla.
Yes.
Okay. During the time you were with the administration,
Oo.
what did you decide to do about it?
Okay. Incidentally,
Yes.
I was also the chairman of the Committee on Ecology and Environment.
Mm.
So as early as that period when I was chairman, I was already proposing for an alternative site for the city government to look for an area and not Barangay Felisa. Because I know the history of Barangay Felisa. And so therefore, as early as 2014, 2015, during the time of ONICO, I was already recommending for the city government to look for a new site. So that was my position then. But at that time, when I was chairman, we are doing anything possible to mitigate the impact sang sinang sanitary landfill open dump sang Barangay Felisa. So nag-create kami gani multi-tripart government interagency para mabantayan kag may ara kita nga mga mitigating measures nga gin-suggest just to mitigate the impact. But for us to start looking already for an area, not that area at Felisa. Because as early as 2007, amo na nga daan ang akong nga posisyon nga that area should not be the place for us to put up our sanitary landfill for several reasons. Nabla nga hindi siya clayish, sandy na da. Tapos underneath, silingkod, di sa water basin, and there is a creek right beside the said sanitary landfill. So, hindi siya suited. In fact, it was not recommended by this study. Out of the 37 initial site nga gintanaw sang sininga study, they trimmed it down to 15. And Felisa was not one of them. And ho and behold, nga agin insist sang local government nga dira di hagayapon sa amo nga existing dump site, ibutang naton ang aton sanitary landfill. Dito ako nakibot kag amo to ko nga I stood up against already for any development improvement in that area precisely because nga nabasa ko ang amo nga study.
But then again,
Remember gani so on allow me to interject nga nagkandak pa gani na ding congressional hearing.
I remember.
Yes. I don't know why the city was able to secure an approval from the DNR because at the very onset, DNR themselves said that is not the suited ideal area for us to put up a sanitary. Amo tong nagwa blang nga habol nga puti nga nagbisita ini di ang DNR to check and then for one day and then so suddenly immediately issued an approval.
Can I have those documents?
I can
Ang
provide
studies
you.
and
Yes.
whatever
Yes.
the other documents are, no?
Oh.
Because we have to go back sa kasaysayan sa sining
Oh
issue.
yes. Why pa gani na why tada ka kuha social acceptability or barangay approval So because of that reason, because I was asking already for documents, I was asking already for papers, studies, etc. And when I reviewed all this, and then when I was asking for all these documents, and I did not receive any of them, or some of them, amuto ko nga I had already my reservations.
But how does it feel? You've been through 2 mayors na,
Oo.
and this is still your advocacy, and no one seems to be listening to you.
Yes.
Ang isa aliado mo, ang isa hindi.
Maybe because at that time, Monico served only for 3 months, for 3 years. So he didn't have enough time maybe to address the issue. Although we are very much aware at the time that there are already cases filed against the city for the rescission of the conditional deed of sale by the Lopez family, for the forfeiture of the 20 million
property
deposit in the purchase of the said property. So at that time, problemado ng daan. So ang gusto ko as chairman of the committee ni OG, dulaon na ini siya and then look for a new site. Rather than,
and that is still your position until now?
That is still my position. I would want that sanitary landfill at Barangay Felisa to be closed and rehabilitated immediately and look for a new site. Within the 8 to 10 months period, because gintagaan kita sa DNR, allowing us still to use the open dump site for the next 8 to 10 months. So we still have enough time to look for a new site. And there are sites already. In fact, we can always go back to the old site recommended by this Australian study, which is Kabug, owned by the Muya family, among others. So tulukon taliwat. Because at the very onset sa CENECO, ining balang pagbakal naton, pagbutang naton sa sanitary landfill sa Felisa is already riddled with corruption and anomalies. Nga ginduso lang, laging pilit lang naton ang ina nga lugar, notwithstanding the fact nga amo na ning ginarekomendar, amo na ning mga studies, so amo na niyang mga violations nga makita ta once we pursue with the constructions and the operations of the sanitary landfill Barangay Felisa.
All right. So that's your position until now, no?
Yes.
Let's go to another issue. Saan ka ma-file kaso sa taga CENECO?
You know what? We are trying to consolidate. You know what? If you have to file a case against anybody, it has to be airtight. Very much like we did with Basiwa. It took us some time to gather all the documents. Until now, gani sa CENECO, all the documents which I requested during the public hearing, not a single one of those documents were submitted to the Sangguniang Panglungsod. Pila to ka dokumentum, I can count 8 to 10 documents. But then until now, I don't see, and I've been trying to follow it up with the Sangguniang Panglungsod if these documents were submitted to us, but not a single one of those documents, nga ginpangabay namon ang CENECO to provide the Sangguniang Panglungsod. So it has to be airtight. Otherwise, kung hindi airtight, kung may mga lapses, kung may mga jutay abing defects, it will be easily be, turned down by the court.
But is it still your position nga bogus ang consumers group?
Yes.
And you're referring to Consumer Negros?
Yes. I said...
Why so?
You know what? I did not say, wala kuya. I don't recall referring them as bogus or fake environmentalists. I don't know I don't know their previous actions with regards to the environment. But what I said was that they are bogus consumers because, first of all, ang ilang complaint is unverified. I don't know why the board of directors of CENECO gave credence or importance to an unverified complaint. Because under the rules, hindi mo pagbatunon ang isa ka unverified complaint. It should have gone outright to the waste bin tani kung nakita nila nga pagtanaw pa lang, there's not even worth reading it. Kundi haboy mo na lang sa basurahan because unverified. Kadua, they don't have any legal personality. And thirdly, they are not even member consumers, owners of CENECO. So why will the management of CENECO give credence to a group which has none of the following which I have mentioned?
So can you please state your case clearly, sir? Nga bugo sila, anong tinutuyo sa imong paglantaw nga nag-file sila reklamo?
I don't know. Maybe because they wanted to delay the process.
The
Maybe,
process of
the selection competitive bidding. Okay?
So bali ang gwa sini, allow me to
Yes.
look into that argument. Ang gwa sini nga nangita rason ang CENECO para i-delay.
Yes.
And they provided the rason.
Yes. Now,
If
considering...
that is the case, ano panuwag mo nga please choose a word, nagkonsabo, nagconnive, anong ginhimo nila sa CENECO?
Well, I have reason enough to suspect the CENECO board wanted to delay the process of the bidding. They were not successful initially by citing the reason of delaying the opening of the bids because ining independent third-party Beach and Roads Committee did not follow their demands or their request because they are, as I said, independent. They are following schedules and they are pressed for time. They need to come up with the bidding process as soon as possible because the contract will expire by April 25. So hindi sila naging magdinalag on dira sa ina nga punto. Now, they look for another excuse for them to delay the process by stating nga siling nila nga hindi sila pabor sa coal-fired power plant kag ang gusto yan nila ang EDC because this is a renewable energy. Now, diri wa ay nag-synchronize ang ilang plano because ining tindog sang consumers group, ining mga environmentalists like Junjun Mujica because he said he's also an environmentalist. Hindi ni sila pabor sa geothermal power plant nga ginaduso sa board of directors. Ining EDC bala. That is where they basically nga nakita ko, they did not synchronize their move because ining board of directors, they are pushing for EDC because according to them, geothermal power is a renewable energy, which is contrary to the stance sa sining grupo nga nagasiling nga environmental sila because at the very onset, kabalo ko, nga they are against geothermal power plant.
Okay.
So, it did not jive. They did not synchronize.
Based on what you're saying now, kung lagaon tang istorya kag simple tang sugilanon, ano tabo ni may drama, may telenovela, may script,
Yes, because all of these things basically will end up to the move
ang pamangkot
by
sino
our government officials for the privatization ng CENECO.
ang pamangkot sinong scriptwriter, sinong director?
We
Who do you
know?
think?
I don't know. But you know what? Initanan-tanan banwa. Aside from the fact, no, nga they wanted to, somehow maximize a being just for a year, they can still, recoup and then charge the consumer members of, let us say, I said overcharging, overpricing, or in the terms of Councilor Baribar, opportunity cost for our consumer member owners in the tune of 368 million pesos just for the price difference alone of the old contract price of 5.42 as against that of the 329. So amo ini banwa ang isa ka issues ni day. But all of these things basically will go to the move of management including our government officials to have CENECO privatized by the year 2025.
Sir, pili bisugilanon, anong gakatabo? May sarswela, drama, anong gakatabo? Anong ilaragway, anong tinaga nga magalaragway sina? Sarswela, drama na no?
Drama, sarswela, you know what? Basically the same move. Nga duplication of the what we experienced at Basiwa. Kita mo man siguro ang drama sa Basiwa board of directors before we are against privatizations. Now we need to get into a partnership, privatize the Basiwa Water District because we are losing. So all of these things basically, if you try to check the drama kag sa Suela man ginubra sa board of directors sa Basiwa, exactly the same the way the board of directors and our public officials are doing with CENECO now. All of this will lead up to privatization.
All right. Now, siling ni Junjun mo, kakadamo sang kausa mo Damo advokasya mo. Are,
Yes.
ang i-advise mo nga mapaluya-luya ka.
Luya.
Oo.
Ginger abe.
Oo.
Okay.
Mapabanyo sabi palutay daw nano da.
You know what? Junjun Mujica forgot that I am a public official. As a public official, it is incumbent upon me to check every contracts, every agreement that is detrimental to the general public. So I have to study, I have to learn each and every contract, transactions in the government that will affect the general public. So that is baseless. A stupid remark coming from Junjun Mujica.
Can you say that again?
A baseless and a stupid remark coming from Junjun Mujica because I am a public official, as I said. Even such gagniang nga isyu banwa, so on. Ina lang abi sa dalan ta nga may buslot na da. Siling ko, it is our every right as citizens to question and to ask authority. So all the more reason siling ko nga dapat pamangkuton ko nga ginasukot niyo ang konsumidor in the tune of 368 million pesos in the span of 1 year. Kag sila ang pabayaron niyo sang sininga overpricing, overcharging, or opportunity cost. That is may amo nang pinakadako ko ang pamangkot. So that is a very stupid and a very baseless remarks given by Junjun Mojica.